Hi, today is the 12th of December 2025, and people that have only hate in their heart, they were manually made that way. I've told you that before, but they think that every time I say something, or they feel that if they can watch me, and I'm repeating this for billions of people around the world, and as I've told you before, I just tended to be one of the bigger targets because of my female status, because I'm a real female, and because of my bloodline. Well, what I've noticed after observing these maggots under my microscope, that viewfinder goes both ways, baby. And they feel that if they know everything that's rolling around in that brain of mine, that they will somehow get an edge. There is no edge. Here's how this works, you dumb fucks. I don't need to hide anything. You do. Everything you do, you have to do under the secrecy of the Vatican veil. You get me? And I don't. You do, but I don't. As a matter of fact, I use the truth against you because your billions and billions and billions and billions and billions of lies. Your life is a delusion. It's an illusion. And people resonate with the truth. More importantly, the Lightworker military, which is billions and billions of people, love the information that I'm bringing to the surface because they couldn't do that by themselves. And if I weren't a target from the moment I was born, because of my bloodline and because of a gig that was formed to trap you, Satanists, that's what Elvis was about, is to trap you. Did you know that? I told you that before. Because I have nothing to hide, I don't need to. If you want to portray me on the net and try to tell the people that my look-alike sibling is me, that is your choice. I don't give a shit. Those days are over. I used to care, but I don't care now. I'm sorry that child was sold into prostitution. I am very sorry about that. The child was worked on since the time Sandy was born. JFK Jr., you too. JFK Jr., aka Judy Perkins, is supposedly at MS. I got pictures of JFK Jr. at 100 pounds. Not even able to walk, just skin and bones, looking like the death walking. That was made to make you go batshit crazy as they drugged you, poisoned your mind, poisoned you, starved you, JFK Jr. And if you feel like you're deep cover and you've been trying to out-boogie the boogies, you better bring your information fast to save your ass, JFK Jr., Judy Perkins. I think you're one of them. I'm hoping you prove me wrong, though. One of the Satanists themselves. If you've been playing deep cover, you better bring it, Jeffrey Epstein, because he played that too. Prince Charles, Al Pacino, Richard Gere, the Dick Gere, get it? Dick Gere, child prostitute, Dick Gere. Yeah, so you can go down with them, I don't give a shit. So can your pappy, so can your grandpappy, so can your cousins, so can your brothers. I don't give a shit. Now, I was told via Gmail that my son on Gmail last winter said to me that he would see me soon, or talk to me soon. He'd talk to me soon. Not that was interesting, because I haven't been allowed to talk to my son for 10 years, and I've told you about that too. I thought that was an interesting comment on his Gmail. And at that time I was at the Legacy Resorts because my house had been hit by Hurricane Milton. I had a knock on the door, about 3 knocks within an hour apart of each other. Of course I wondered if that was my son. Of course I did. But I thought, if these fools are using him against me and trying to cause bad drama, I'm not going to play. I'm not going to play with that. That's immature kid shit. I will see my son on his terms when he isn't imprisoned by the Satanists. That's when I'll see my son. I'll talk to my son. And so I never answered the door when there were 3 knocks at night. They were in 210. The very lost souls were in room 210, or condo 210. I was in 208, and I had been moved from 208 from 206 to 208. So 206 was where my lookalike was doing naughty naughties. So they had to get pictures of me leaving the condo. They had to get pictures and video of me in the condo. And then they replaced my lookalike with me. And then that's when that one did the dirty dirties. I don't know what they did there. Don't want to know. But that was 2 doors down from me. And then these obnoxious knocks over and over again. So who knows who it was that was doing this, but I thought that the timing of the knocks on my door and that Gmail was correlated. I also figured out that every time I was saying something on the net, that I would get emails strategically around certain videos or certain information on the net, which meant that Jake, my son, may not be controlling that Gmail account. So that was a dumb move by Adam Ant, who I knew was his fake father-in-law, the one that had imprisoned him. Jake, the way that Adam Ant is involved is because he is the biological son of Jackie Kennedy. Jackie Kennedy is the one that trafficked me. They think they own people. This is the same bloodline and why of John Wilkes Booth. John Wilkes Booth, Will Booth. John Wilkes Booth, you know who he is. Will Booth came up right after John Wilkes Booth supposedly kicked it, or around that era. And he was supposedly a pastor that opened up all of our Salvation Armies. Those Salvation Army warehouses is where they did film for their media, and also pictures. Before film, it was pictures. And the Booth bloodline has been running the studios for their masters. They're full-on Satanists, and they've been running them for their masters. And their masters are the House of China, India, and Saudi Arabia. In a dream the other night, whether it was ARI or not, whether it was the Lightworker military or the naughty military, I don't know. But in the dream, there was Jackie Kennedy, who is either the same person reincarnated, John Wilkes Booth or Will Booth. That could be him reincarnated. I know duplicates of Ulysses Grant, George Washington, Teddy Roosevelt, etc. I mean, they are spot on for each other. To me, there is no denying. I am the spot on replica of Alice Lee Hathaway Roosevelt, who lived 100 years ago. There's no doubt in my mind that we have reincarnation, and if not, that cell memory is pretty frickin' strong. That DNA memory, yeah. If not, those ancestors definitely live in us. They are alive in us, our ancestors, and they sit right on our DNA. So, in the dream, Jackie Kennedy was at a booth, pregnant, doubled over in pain. The booth had a lot to do with the John Wilkes Booth bloodline, because that's one and the same. I've known that. And I also wondered, after that dream, why he was sitting in a booth, you know? And the Will Booth bloodline being one and the same, John Wilkes Booth bloodline, what I've gathered right now is that they're done. They're done. His son Adam Ant, who's imprisoned my son for the last 10 years or more, he's done. He may or may not know that right now, but that knock on the door, and they did just stupid things. Like I would put I would trigger them in the public. I would fuck with them like a cat does a mouse, like a cat does a canary, right? Will Booth. I would fuck with them, and they would call me or write me on cue. And I even said that to him. Oh, you're just on cue today. I would fuck with them. What do you mean? What do you mean? Because they were too dumb to know that they were brought into my environment for me to be judge and jury on them. They were too dumb to know this, because they don't know any other way. Their entire lives, they've been set up to hurt and kill others. So they thought it was the same status quo. They were punked. In the dream, I haven't got it all yet, but the dream with him being in a booth has everything to do with John Wilkes Booth, and this is his karma. That it has come full circle. And the booth was to just remind me that Jackie Kennedy is very likely the same person. That's what the big news was to me. He is the same soul as the John Wilkes Booth times, Civil War. And that we've had people, generations and generations of people that have been after him since the Civil War. That soul and that bloodline. That's pretty deep shit. He is reincarnated John Wilkes Booth, is what I'm saying. And therefore Will Booth. He may not have played Will Booth in all those pictures you see, but he is the one that started the studios in the Salvation Army warehouse, and why Jackie Kennedy worked at the Salvation Army on 1st Avenue and 29th Street for 10 years. And then they moved everything to the country club, underneath the country club. Golf courses. Cedar Rapids Country Club, just down the street. Now, again, my gut feeling about Donald Trump is we have a puppet. There's about 3 lookalikes for him. Matt Yancey, Sam Yancey, who lived across the street from my place or grew up across the street from my place at 1960 Washington Avenue, Cedar Rapids, Iowa 52403. Matt Yancey and Sam Yancey graduated in 1983 from Washington High School in the same town, Cedar Rapids, Iowa. And they also had a brother, and that's Dean Thompson. I believe he plays the main gig, Donald Trump, but he does have lookalikes, and Dean Thompson has the same initials. Ego is their Achilles heel, and they are part Mangala. So they have Joseph Mangala bloodline in them, or John Wilkes Booth, same bloodline. They have that bloodline in them, but they also have the Kennedy or Roosevelt bloodline. That's the same bloodline. Kennedy, Carter, Clinton, many of the presidents we've had since Teddy Roosevelt and Taft are the same Kennedy or Roosevelt bloodline. Now, they're Irish. They come from Ireland. With the 2 bloodlines, they were running the studio on 29th Street and on 1st Avenue and 29th Street. They have a good and bad side, in my opinion. Clint Eastwood is the father of Donald Trump, and he played the first James Dean. Jackie Kennedy played in some of the James Dean photographs also. Clint Eastwood got taken for a ride, and this is news to some of you actors. In my opinion, he played the big gig. Jackie Kennedy came in and took the fame, the fake fame, the fake power, and the bloody coins from Clint Eastwood and most likely many other actors. This is how they got their fake fame. They also played gigs in Hollywood, one of them being Jackie Kennedy, Penny Marshall. He played Linda Gray and Nancy Pelosi, shit like that. Not a very good actor either. Very shitty actor. He did the same thing with his son, Adam Ant. Adam Ant went in, and here's a couple people that I've seen him do this with. He played Johnny Depp, the second one, the one in public. And who else did he play? There was somebody else. I said, oh, Robin Williams, or Bono, same guy. He took his fake fame, fake power, and bloody coins also. And then they would keep these people in prison. Now, does Clint Eastwood know? Very, very likely. I had a picture, and I accidentally erased it the other day. I was so bummed. There's a picture of a young Elvis with Clint Eastwood, a very young Clint Eastwood. And I grabbed it, and then I erased it on accident. So if you can find that photograph, there might be more. Elvis was writing about that, his friendship with Clint Eastwood, in the song American Pie. Elvis wrote that. And I've deciphered that song for you before on my interpretation of the song. And every time I have, they'll put it on public, on the media, their interpretation. So they would try to interpret me. And I'm just telling you, from my point of view, what he's thinking and what he's saying in that song. Okay. Now, when I was treating, when they were under my investigation, Jamie Lee Curtis and Adam Ant, Jamie Lee Curtis told me that maybe my son couldn't go home. He couldn't be in my vicinity because maybe they told him that I would be hurt. After he said that to me, when Adam Ant was not in my office, Jamie Lee Curtis supposedly passed out in midair at a baseball game, and that would have been a humiliation ritual. It would have been all kinds of shit. But he was attacked, or he lied about it. Jamie Lee Curtis did, because he's a man. I would have to say that he may have been attacked, and that might have been true, because he said that in my office, and of course Adam Ant had the office bugged. As you know, Adam Ant, I don't give two shits what you think you hear from me. I will tell you to your fucking sleazy killer face what I think. Because I am not like you, a coward who slithers around in the dark and kills people for a thrill and eats their flesh. You fucking vampire. Going to prison for life, ma'am, and it ain't gonna be here. It ain't gonna be on this planet. Jamie Lee Curtis also talked about a nudie colony. I think it's up in like Lutz or Wesley Chapel, if you haven't heard about that. And Vernon Presley has a strong resemblance to Jamie Lee Curtis's ex-husband when they were going by Bulig, B-U-H-L-I-G, in Alma, Missouri. And Mr. Bulig was supposedly the principal of that high school in Alma, Missouri. Mrs. Bulig, again, Jamie Lee Curtis, looked a lot like Vernon Presley, and Vernon Presley possibly went by Pat Nolan at 2520 21st Avenue in Marion, Iowa. As you noticed, Vernon Presley completely changed how he looked over the years, so I think he was changed out. Pat Nolan has a look-alike brother I've mentioned before, and that's Bob Nolan, who lived in Emmitsburg on the lake in the old Nolan family home, and they also owned the lake in Emmitsburg, Iowa. Those two are twins on purpose and were very, very likely working with long-term undercover agent, in my opinion, FDR or Frank Redding, using the same initials, in Laverne, Iowa. Frank also played Werner von Braun. He played the youngest girl in the Teddy Roosevelt bullshit. My grandfathers, both of them, were playing in that same gig as Teddy Roosevelt Jr. on my dad's side, and my mom's side, Kermit Kim Roosevelt. And those boys played the long game. I don't, but they do. Frank Redding was right there with them on purpose as children. And they went deep cover, in my opinion. Frank's with us, in my opinion. What I'm saying, JFK Jr., is you have a choice. You've always had a choice. But if you felt like you were deep cover and you fell, you better start bringing it, boy. You better start bringing it now, because if not, you're going to prison for life. I know that you were raised and groomed with Adam Ant by Jackie Kennedy. I know this. I know you're in the same straw home. How do you think I know this? How do you think I know this? Nobody's telling me this shit. I've had 58 years to piece this shit together. And you can go to prison with them. I don't like you. I think you're a parasite on humanity. So it's not on me if you go to prison with them for the rest of your life. Not on this planet. More information about Vernon. We got Mount Vernon in Iowa. Matt Hasley moved to Mount Vernon. He was running the studio out there, if I'm not mistaken. There is a studio, or a newer studio, that they put out there. Matt Hasley is the Indian bloodline. I believe he also played possibly Kirk Sadillac. Washington graduate, possibly 1983, Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Andy Hasley is his supposed father. He is my dad's bloodline. Andy is my dad's bloodline. So is Shelley Peterson's dad. That's my dad's bloodline. Shelley Peterson played Cyndi Lauper and Leslie Mann, etc. They played the long game. Did Shelley go bad? Possibly. Shelley O'Brien, Regis, and later Washington High School. Mount Vernon, Iowa. Okay, Vernon. Laverne, Iowa. Vernon, Mount Vernon, and Vernon Presley. All these names are breadcrumbs in the sand, in my opinion. I'm sure there's other, breadcrumbs. But when they called you Laverne, you dummy. This is for Laverne, Iowa, with one of my great uncles or grandfathers, and that would be FDR. Laverne and Shirley, Jackie Kennedy, your gig. Laverne and Shirley, when you threw 3 children to the Satanist again after you trafficked us in 1976. That was to leave breadcrumbs for you in the sand. Grandpa Frank Redding had you trapped even back then, but you didn't know it. They knew exactly what you were doing from day one. They've been on you like stink on shit. You don't fuck with their families. The Roosevelts were one family. We got dirties in there, don't get me wrong. I don't even affiliate with the dirties. But you got the Roosevelt family that have been hunting you for generations, have been getting all the goods on you. They've been playing you vampires from France, you soul sellers, you little elves that became vampires. They've been selling you. They've been tracking you for eons as you sold your soul. That's what's going on here. So I had to show you a couple. Jamie Lee Curtis and Adam Ant connecting dots that I forgot to bring you the other day. And the other thing, Jamie Lee Curtis, you changed your MO when your grandson, who was dressed as a girl, walked into my office. You turned into a drag queen bitch, and that showed me how incredibly fake you fucking are. You don't change your persona when people walk into the room unless you're a fucking drag queen. That's what drag queens do. I've watched Jackie Kennedy do that my whole life. He changes to whoever's in the room. So if I had been on the fence about you before that moment, that's when it showed me who the fuck you were.